Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Blue Valkyrie, and this is day number 6 of the Tarot 31 day Tarot challenge. I always mess up that. Today, our member, my assistant, will be beautiful Frey. As you can see, he is just calmly napping, and until a little while ago he was actually snoring. And no, I'm not shooting him upside down, like, see, this is straight, so the kitty is actually all like that. So let's get on with it. The Aleister Crowley Tarot, also known as the Thoth Tarot. It's one of the oldest, most modern, tarot. And the thing is that we have to thank Mr. Aleister Crowley for bringing back the tarot and actually saying how important it is as an esoteric tool, not just a divination tool. And the two tarot decks that I have here of the Crowley Tarot are actually just in comparison of size. Like this one, it's easier on my hand, as you can see. For example, I would put it here as such, and it's slid. And then the other one, it's slightly bigger, as you can see. Let me just turn them around. They're the same thing. My first tarot that actually, pardon the red paint. I was painting something and I forgot to scrub. Anyway, the back is the same. My first ever tarot deck cards were a Crowley deck. They didn't have that white border in the back. They had this sort of just outline, and they were actually bigger than the larger of these two cards. They were actually more like this size. They were pretty big. I remember they were pretty big. And I don't know where they went, but basically, if you've seen one Crowley deck, you've seen them all, because the most important thing about this deck, aside from the connotations that Crowley wrote for them, it's that the paintings were made by a lady of the name Freda Harris, and she's the artist who made the whole thing. Well, she's at least the visual one. Yes, it has the most I would say classic looks, like the Ace of Discs, or what we call Pentacles. You see, it's just one disc. The Three of Wands, you see 3 wands, and so forth. Let me see if I can find something here that would show you more. There's Ace of Swords is, of course, one sword. And the knights and everybody else, and basically it's just the same art. It might have some pseudo-Egyptian elements to them. Back then, when Crowley was actually making this, he was of the school of thought that the tarot came from Egypt, from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now, Nowadays, we know this isn't further from the truth, and the reason why they wanted to equate it to the Egyptian Book of the Dead was that supposedly it, Egypt possessed the most antique civilization. I'm sorry, and thanks to archaeological findings, we have found that this is not true. A lot of people think that Egypt is like this birth of civilization, when it really isn't. The Mesopotamic peoples were actually one of the first organized civilizations that we had in the world. And even though they had multiple pantheon, and they were polytheistic, I don't believe they had something like a book, like a, not a book, like a tarot, for instance, like a deck, or like some sort of oracle. I'm sure they did, but it's not as widespread as Crowley. And the significance of the tarot as such a big and important instrument, we have to thank Aleister Crowley for that. Now, Crowley was initiated in the Golden Dawn, I think it was. I don't remember. But this one, at least the small one, is from Ordo Templi Orientis. And let's see. In the first book I'm showing you, the Book of Thoth, Egyptian Tarot. No, it's not the Egyptian Tarot. Later you will see why. It says here, Master Therian being Aleister Crowley. And it has some printings of the cards themselves. It also happens here, and you're gonna see it throughout the book. You will see prints, but basically that's it. Now, this is a very beautiful writing, The Wheel and the Wall. Basically, it's something that I think it's very beautiful. Like I said, it has a list of the illustrations, and it has kind of like a little bit of biographical notes. It tells you about when Crowley actually was initiated into Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. See, not Order of Templars, that's the other one. And Aleister Crowley was initiated into the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And he took the motto Perdurabo, which means I endure to the end. And it gives you a little bit of backdrop on his studies. As you can see, then comes the theory of the tarot. And something very important here in the origin tells you that the origin of this pack of cards is very obscure. Some authorities, they're not really authorities, seek to put it as far back as the ancient Egyptian mysteries. Others try to bring it forward as late as the 15th or even the 16th century, but it existed in what may be called the classical form as early as the 14th century. And this is more, it shares more a bit of accuracy, you know. It tells you like when it was used for fortune and things like that. And it's very different. It's not what really happened, but it's somewhat, what I find is that by calling it the Egyptian tarot, it's just perpetuating a myth that it was taken from that civilization, and it's also perpetuating the myth that it says here that as far as the ancient Egyptian mysteries, which it was ancient, but it really wasn't the oldest civilization. And by now, today, this year, 2019, we know so much better. So the good thing about it is that it actually goes and tells you about the cards, of course. Like here, it gives you the moon, gives you a zodiac backdrop. It tells you what it is about, and in a sense, this is not so much as an oracle book, but it's more like archetypes, like telling you what to do, what to read into it, what would it mean. And you will notice that these cards, for example, you see here it's the Knight of Discs, but also it happens to be, it has kind of like, see, it has discs. This is not the best example, but I'm gonna try to see if okay, here's one. For instance, there's the Seven of Wands, but then it says valor, and it attests something to the valor whenever it comes out in a reading. Same go with the smaller ones. And so basically that's this big old book, and basically it's a standalone for the regular ones, regular decks that come without a book or a booklet. This book, I think I already, I actually, never mind that sound, that's one of the dogs. It's actually Scotty. She's trying to get, you know what they do when they're going to lay down. So, oh yeah, Frey boy, say hi, Frey. There he is. Yes, my cat answers when you call him. So basically, in here we have more, I would say this book is more divination oriented, and it explains better. When it says it's the handbook for the Aleister Crowley tarot, it's not kidding. It really is a handbook, because trust me guys, you need a lot of patience and an open mind, and you need to read a lot to actually be able to understand this, if you're going to look at it from a different point than divination or oracle. And I have to say that the medium size, this one, came with a little leaflet, well, pamphlet, on instructions for Aleister Crowley's tarot deck. And this was published by US Game Systems Inc. I like it that, see, the essay was written by Lady Frida Harris, and the footnotes and commentary by Stuart R. Kaplan. That's a very important name when it comes to tarot. And Lady Frida Harris was the artist, actually, who painted this the deck. And this is unlike other booklets. For example, I'm right in the middle of it, and as you can see, it's all in English. It's not like it's this thick because it has several languages. No, it isn't. It's all just completely English. And I think it might even include a reading. I'm not sure because this is a little old. I usually never pay attention to the booklets, but I think it doesn't. Anyway, here it's a list of the US game systems, what they offer. Let's see, they have the African, the Aegis, Ancestral Path, blah blah blah, a baseball tarot deck. Oh my god. I might want to get the Cat People one, but the Los Carabeo one, because I haven't seen the US Games version of that one. Okay, of course I have the Crowley thought. I always wanted the Dali Universal. I have Bear Dragon tarot deck. You will see it in one of these days. I don't have the Lord of the Ring ones, which I would love to have. There's Rider-Waite. I have it. I have several of those. And I think I have the Witches Tarot. I'm not really sure. I do have the Universal Waite or tarot deck. That's true. And well, basically, as you can see, Stuart R. Kaplan wrote the Encyclopedia of Tarot Volume 1, 2, and 3. Tarot Classic, Tarot Cards for Fun, and Fortune Telling. And that's US Game Systems. These are rather old, but I love them anyway. And both of them, I actually housed them on this little pretty wicker chest. So this was today's tarot, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.